Oh, my baby, got me staring at you. So I'm crazy. Won't you bend that back for me? We won't stop. Got your feet both locked. You get to fly with me. I can take you down for a ride. I take you around my life. Jaywalking, crosswalking, lip blocking, but you, I know it, you know it, we make it. Heaven is really not far away. Why can't we fall in love for a day? I want to fall in love, baby, just for the night. Just for the night. Heaven is really not far away. Why can't we fall in love for a day? I want to fall in love, baby, just for the night. Just for the night. Oh, my baby, got me staring at you. So I'm crazy. Won't you bend that back for me? We won't stop. Got your feet both locked. You get to fly with me. I can take you down for a ride. I take you around my life. Jaywalking, crosswalking, lip blocking with you. I know it, you know it, we make it. Heaven is really not far away. I can't be falling in love for a day. I want to fall in love, baby, just for the night. Just for the night. Heaven is really not far away. Why can't we fall in love for a day? I want to fall in love, baby, just for the night. Just for the night.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Akashicon Online's Anime Afternoon. You'll notice I have a couple guests with me today. They will be our presenters. First, I have a few announcements. Give me just a few minutes there. I won't take too long, I promise. I'm so glad that you guys have chosen to spend your Saturday afternoon with us. We know you guys have a plenty of choices of what you could be doing, and I'm sounding like a flight attendant, but we still really appreciate you being here. Absolutely. Love to you all. Remember that OkashiCon has activities on the first Saturday of the month, which is right now. We also had the second Sunday of the month for the Demo Disc OkashiCon guys who are playing lots of intro tasters to 90s vintage. I hate saying vintage because I was like, that was like the cool thing when I was young. But yeah, they're now vintage retro games. Second Monday of the month is Make Your Monday, where I teach Japanese-related crafts or cosplay and accessory making, things like that. And the fourth Sunday of the month is Japan Stories. So remember that just about any week of the month, OkashiCon is here to entertain you. And again, we really, hi Jonathan, hi Stargazing Pumpkin, glad that y'all are with us. You will notice that we will be checking on the chat throughout the show, and hopefully that we'll be getting some comments up as well. But if you see us looking distracted, it's not that we're not paying attention to you guys, it's that we are paying attention to you guys. Final reminders. Remember that OkashiCon is a certified nonprofit, and so if you are a participating member of Amazon Smile, and even if you're not, if you shop on Amazon, please join Amazon Smile and designate OkashiCon as your registered charity, and we will get a tiny percentage of anything that you purchase on Amazon, which helps us fund these programs to keep them free for you all. You certainly can also subscribe so that you won't get any ads. Twitch is getting more aggressive about that. There's nothing we can do. But if you're an Amazon Prime member, you can subscribe for free and never see ads on the OkashiCon site. Let's see, what else we have? Remember that if you do have to leave during the day, or if you have friends who would like to watch this, replays are available on the OkashiCon website, and usually available on YouTube, although YouTube does sometimes have some copyright content restrictions. So check the OkashiCon website first, especially for these anime afternoon presentations. Welcome to Halloween month, or Spooktober, whatever you'd like to call it. OkashiCon will be having 2 contests coming up. Announcements will be coming soon, but our J Fashion team is going to be announcing a Halloween coordinate contest, and then also Taffy and Friends will be doing a cosplay, a pet costume contest, and that will be announced very shortly. So remember to check our social medias on Facebook and on Instagram in particular. We also try to post it on Twitter, but OkashiCon, if you've managed to get to our Twitch, you know how to spell OkashiCon. So you guys are ahead of the game, and we appreciate that. Final announcement is that next month we will be having an artist showcase, and we will be interviewing some small artists who've been involved with, artist alleys around the community and around the United States, including some that you have not seen before in Texas because they're not based here. And hopefully we can give them a little bit of some attention and love before the holiday shopping season. But that is all my announcements today. Thank you so much for being patient. But I am going to turn over the presentation to these lovely people here. This is Team Waifu, and today our presentation is I'm a Rumik Girl in a Rumik World, the works of Rumiko Takahashi, who I am a particular fan of. So if y'all would like to take it away, go ahead and tell us all about it.
Okay, so I'm Lester Candy. And I'm Asher Rose. And
we're Team Waifu.
Team Waifu.
We do all sorts of things, including panels.
Exactly. So, about this panel, we're going to be covering a lot of Rumiko Takahashi's works. Some you may have not known, and some you may have heard of.
She's been in the game for over 40 years and one of Japan's richest ladies.
Yes.
Okay, all right. Let's go on to the first slide.
Yep.
Yes.
Lady of the Hour.
Applause for the Lady of the Hour. Yes, standing next to a golden lump statue, which we'll get into her very shortly.
Yep.
And now it's a little history about our Woman of the Hour, as you can see in these slides. Okay.
Now, she really didn't like... Crap, I'm sorry. She really didn't have too much interest in manga until much later. And she also doesn't want to get married.
Yeah, apparently most of the awards she's accepted in her 40-year career, well, she wasn't really present for her. She would be so busy, like such a workaholic, she'd send somebody else to go get them in like her stead. And the mangaka for Crying Freeman, Lone Wolf and Cub, let's see, what did he do? Where's notes? I forgot what I wrote that down for. Oh well. Well, he was a huge inspiration for her or inspiration for her to keep going because she was kind of considering stopping. That's what that was. Okay, but yeah, also her works influenced quite a few people, including Matthew Sweet, who's a musician, and his Lum was his original waifu. Like she would make Easter egg appearances in his videos, like his music videos back in the 90s.
Yep. And that's fair too. Lum is always and will be a favorite.
Yes, Brian Lee O'Malley, who you're familiar with because of Scott Pilgrim, he was inspired by Rumiko, along with some other artists and even a band from Scotland naming themselves Urusei Yatsura. That's pretty cool.
And speaking of Urusei Yatsura,
means those obnoxious aliens. Basically, her first work, the manga ran from 78 to 87. The anime, of course, ran from 81 to 86 and became like a huge, like, instant classic. Basically, picture the fate of your world in the hands of the world's most powerful boy during a alien invasion. And that alien whose heart he captured happened to be the princess of said invading people. Problem is, he loves every other girl but Lum. But doesn't mean Lum doesn't have her own, group of supporters. In the manga, they're referred to as Lum Stormtroopers. But in the anime, they actually have names for the little squad, like Megane, which means glasses. So guy with glasses is obviously Megane. There's Curl, or Perm, sorry.
Yep. Perm.
Chibi, which is the short one. It's like a stockier one. His name, I don't remember, but you get that basic gist. It's just nicknames.
Yeah. And also, there's a lot of puns in the anime too, especially with the title too.
And also, this was the start of Rumiko mixing Japanese folklore and comedy into her works, which is becoming it becomes a common thing. But this was the start of it because Lum's people are space Oni, and then she has another friend who's like a Tengu princess and a snow woman. You get the idea.
Yeah, you get the idea.
She may or may not have been. Oh, okay. Mike is all right.
Okay, so Lum was possibly inspired by the Hawaiian bikini and grabber model, Agnes Lum.
Who you'll see in the next slide. And then, of course, you can tell, but Rumiko Takahashi has been back and forth on admitting and denying. I guess she's afraid of lawsuits on or royalties Chan.
Yeah. And the next slide shows a few of the movies for the series.
Yeah, the reason I threw in the movies is because the first one was basically a retelling or slight different retelling of how the anime started with instead of stepping on Lum's shadow as a marriage proposal, he steps on another alien's shadow when they were kids on the playground. And of course, being a kid, you're going to make empty promises because you don't know quite what they mean. Like, oh, we're going to get married? Yeah, sure. And then years later, she comes back to collect and Lum is not happy. But the second movie, I will say it was a lot of people's exposure to Lum. It was mine thanks to the Sci-Fi Channel. But also it was inspiration for various films, including Inception, because it took a different route from the more comedic romantic comedy route, thanks to the director Mamoru Oshii, who's known for Pat Labor and stuff. He wanted to put his own spin on the take. And Rumiko Takahashi was not happy about it at all. But I think it's a masterpiece. It's worth checking out if you haven't already.
Yeah.
And like I said, the third one's pretty funny if you want to see Ataru get turned into some pink elephant. All right. I showed you that one. And the last three, I'd say, are close to the conclusion of the series. But also there's fan series of which orders to watch the anime and the movies in, but just don't do too much at a time because, yeah, that's just overkill. It's a lot to watch.
Yeah.
Go outside,
Kids
take a
fair.
walk. Yes. All right.
Okay.
I think it's not PSA time.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes,
we have something lined up for you guys. And we're back again. This time with her second work, Maizuna Koku, which actually was slightly inspired by when she was writing Ursa Yatsura. I was like, Rumiko and two assistants sharing a tiny apartment, and Rumiko would sleep in the closet. True story.
Yep. And the basic plot is that it revolves around the many people living in the boarding house. And Kyoko is the new housing manager. And it centers around her and a young, what they call a rodent, which is basically somebody who's a young person trying to get into college that's been having the worst luck, named Kyodai. He's down on his luck, and at the first episode, he was threatening to leave, and then he changes his mind as soon as he first locks eyes on Kyoko, who's also has her own stuff she's dealing with. She's a widow, and she just adopted a dog to try to get over grief along with being a boarding manager. And the attendants always mess with Kyodai so badly. Whether it's like, tension between him and Kyoko or just him failing an exam again, taking bets on, how many exams he'll fail. They have to give him problems because if they don't, there's something wrong.
So raising Deidre.
Yeah.
But yeah, like the conclusion is also in a movie form, but it's actually not a bad watch if you have time to check it out. It's like very lighthearted. It has its moments where you're in your feels, but for the most part, it still rings on the romantic comedy trope.
Yeah. Especially where everything that Kyoko and Godai have gone through comes to conclusion. It's perfect.
I'm pretty sure if the anime came out today, they'd probably get mad at how she brought her dog into the apartments, sitting on that truck like that. No, they would have threw some fines at her.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
Yep.
And I think our next one is...
Our next one is Mermaid Saga.
Yes. Rumiko decided to try something different and take it dark. She took it dark. She went spooky.
Ooh, yes, she did. So, the plot for Mermaid Saga is that, according to legend, if you eat mermaid flesh, it'll grant immortality. But there's a catch with it. Kind of like a catch-22.
It's like a 1 in 4 or 1 in 5 chance of you actually being immortal.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
You're fine. So you'll either die or become a monster. The story follows Yuta, who's been around for 500 years. He managed to get lucky. So he's wandering through Japan trying to fix his immortality because he's done. He's tired.
He just wants to rest, and he eventually runs into Mono, who's another immortal, which is kind of messed up by her. Was mermaids was keeping her alive as food, so he saves her, and eventually they pair up. He acts all Sudari about it, like he didn't really care about her, but deep down he does, because he's been lonely all that time.
That is true. 500 years is a long, long time.
Yeah. There's two ways to watch the anime. There's the 80s OVA, which is just 2 chapters like of the manga covered, but they did a re-release in 2003 that covers all but 1 chapter, and both are worth checking out.
Yes, it is really good if you really like just legends like this. Okay.
Mhm.
And our next slide is Ranma.
This is like your favorite, so I'll just let you take over.
Yeah. I love Ranma 1/2. I'm sorry. Actually, I'm not.
Don't be.
So
No regrets.
Rumiko or Takahashi-san, after Urusei Yatsura, she decided, well, why don't I decide to make another series that's, women and children can read? And that's where Ranma 1/2 came from. So, and I'm pretty sure everyone watching right now knows about Ranma 1/2. So,
The Anything Goes martial arts school.
Yep.
Both the lead characters' dads are dumb, but their mentor is dumber.
I want to say they're trying, but they're
Bless their hearts. I mean, that literally comes to mind.
So, and for those that don't know, the plot is about Ranma and his father training in China. They fall into a magic spring, curse spring actually, that whatever the title for the spring, like for instance, the spring of the drowned girl and the spring of the drowned panda, you take on that form. And that's what happens to Ranma and his dad.
But then other characters fall into separate springs, and there's one thing we learned is Ranma doesn't like cats because of his dad's training, and one of them becomes a cat.
And that's fair. Anyway, on to the next one. 1 Pound Gospel.
Yeah, I'll take over on this one. Yeah, this was an interesting take on, or interesting little sequence or whatever, because it focuses on a boxer who loves food. He can't make his weight for his matches, which, if anyone wants to chime in why that is for like certain sporting events, why you got to make a certain weight, like feel free. But I'm not sure why, but you have to be a certain weight. But he always is out of his weight class before the matches start because he can't stop eating food. His coaches try, and then eventually one day when he was trying to starve himself, he runs into Sister Angela. Yeah, I thought so. Can't remember her name for a moment. Sister Angela. She he passed out on her doorstep, the church while she was praying, and then hears him out and realizes, okay, well, I'll help you with what you're doing, but I'm not going to be easy on you, because she's pretty hard on him at times, and there's times that he would try to, it'd be a little back and forth between the two of them, like a will they, won't they sort of thing. But the anime you can actually watch on YouTube. It's like an hour of your time. There was a live action too, which I haven't checked out, but it's not a bad quick watch.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and our next one is an anthology that was done.
Which this one, it's like each episode's different, so it's not something you can take a full commit. You can always just come back and watch like here and there, and you're not going to miss much. It's just individual stories, like short stories. I guess she just had them in her head, just wanted to turn them out in that format. The opening's pretty catchy, though.
Yeah.
And the anime, or the reboot of Mermaids Forest came out around the same time, too.
Yeah, so it's a good sit down to watch, too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then we have a trilogy that she did in 78, and it ended in 83.
And 95.
Yeah, in 95.
It was like 3 volumes.
Okay.
The first one being the Fire Tripper in 1985, and then Maris the Chojo, or sometimes translated as Maris the Super Gal.
Yep.
And then Laughing Target. That was a bonus story, but it didn't get the anime treatment. So the works range from comedy to horror.
All right. And we're going to talk about first one in the group, Fire Tripper.
AKA Proto Inuyasha. That's what I like to call it, because basically like Inuyasha prototype.
It really is. And the OVA for Fire Tripper was released alongside Mermaid Scar, I believe, or it's the same media.
Yeah, Central Park.
Okay.
Yeah, we had some friends that did a manga panel in Central Park Media. See if they can bring it back.
Okay. I hope
That'd be great.
Okay. So, Suzuko has a bit of a problem. So she's walking home and she notices her little neighbor, Shuhei. There's a huge gas explosion.
Well, he mentions he has his appendix removed before that, and he says it weird, which is kind of like something to look out for while you're watching like
Okay.
a movie, like little breadcrumb.
I completely forgot about that. Sorry.
Yeah, I forgot how he says it, but he says it weird. But some kids have a hard time pronouncing words.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, she and Shuhei end up getting transported to Civil War era Japan, or Civil War era feudal Japan. If that makes sense. Shuhei's missing. Some bandits show up and they're like, hey.
She finds his clothes and realizes something happened to him. So she's like, I'm gonna try to help him, but some bandits were like, hey girl. And she's like, oh no. And then lo and behold, a young man named Shikamaru shows up, but then also claims, I'm gonna wife her. And she's like, I don't know you, you can't have my purse. To quote Bob Beal.
It's like, I want you to be my wife. Anyway.
Eventually they when she makes it to the village, she realizes there's like a certain connection from like this reoccurring dream she'd have as a kid. Like a little trinket he gives his younger sister.
Yeah. All right. So the next one, Marisa Chojo.
Oh, yes. Her catchphrase is, I hate being poor. She says it often. There's a reason for that.
I have a spiritual connection to Maris, honestly.
Yes. I think a lot of Americans do at this moment. I mean, just cue some Sarah McLachlan playing Arms of an Angel right now. For $6 a day, you could sponsor an American. Sorry.
You're fine. So the plot for Marisa Chojo is that she's been tasked with finding a kidnapped victim, or kidnapped heir, sorry. And there's some problems that she runs into along the way.
And not just her problems, family problems that keep her poor. Like the harness, like you can kind of see in the picture that she's got over her, that kind of limits her strength because her people are a very strong race and they're a very clumsy race too. So that's the reason their planet's destroyed, and then the survivors are off being clumsy and being poor. But yeah, she used to do wrestling before she became an agent, and that's how she ran to a rival, Sue.
Yep. And her love interest is actually
looks a lot like Charles Aznavour from Mobile Suit Gundam, who's pictured on the left. And the right is the one of the antagonists.
Mm-hmm.
But she sees him without, and she's all like, hello.
Money. Anyway,
yeah.
On to the last one of the trilogy, The Laughing Target.
I actually forgot to mention on the previous slide. Can you go back?
Yeah.
He is voiced by Toshio Furumaru, who voices Kai Shiden and Ataru, Kai Shiden Mobile Suit Gundam, and Ataru and Lum.
That's funny.
Yeah, I just remember that. You can go back to the other one now. I just wanted to point that out.
Okay. All right. Also, Misty Ibuki in the chat says that he looks like a Fire Nation guy, and I'm inclined to agree.
Yeah.
Now, the Laughing Target, it is very interesting. I liked it.
It's where she took it the darkest out of the trilogy.
Mm-hmm. And it's also the first time you see a modern iteration of the yandere trope. So, Yuzuru is a descendant of the Shiga clan that is dying out, basically. In order to preserve the legacy of the family, or I say bloodline.
Keep the bloodline pure. Yeah, those weird family matrix are.
Going to I wouldn't say force, but
his
aunt,
his aunt
to his cousin
Azusa. Yeah. And the dad was like, okay, I guess.
10 years later, Azusa's mom dies under mysterious circumstances.
I mentioned with most kids don't remember those little promises. They're just like, okay.
Yeah.
But Azusa has not forgotten. She's come to collect.
She shows up, finds out he's dating a whole other girl named Satumi. Azusa is not happy at all.
She's going to take him out and reclaim her man.
Yeah, and Yuzuru is very oblivious to it all.
At first, so he started to suspect when Satomi even was like, when each time Satomi tries to go say something, her eyes light up and is all like, pretty much. So yeah, Satomi's having the time of her life in this anime.
No, she's not. Anyway, now I'm sure majority of you probably came to this particular panel today for one of her infamous works.
As I say, after we're done with the Inuyasha science video.
It is Inuyasha.
Yeah, so after the slide.
Yeah, we need to explain it.
Fanfare.
Anyway, so if you've never heard
the
of
kazoos.
Inuyasha, the story is with Inuyasha is about, I'm trying to find the words. I'm sorry.
All right. It centers around 15-year-old Kagome, who falls down her family's well and is transported to Sengoku period Japan. But on the way down, she stumbles upon a monster that's like, you got my precious there, the Shikon jewel, I want it. And she's like, what? And also runs into Inuyasha, who's not happy about getting stuck to a tree thanks to her ancestor Kikyo.
Inuyasha literally says, not really, but what year is it, basically.
Yeah.
And some problems occur. Kagome accidentally shatters a Shikon jewel.
Oh, yeah, trying to go after the bird that ingested it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it was, yeah. And so they get a crew of very humans and demons together to go retrieve the pieces of the Shikon jewel, but then they, got to find the pieces of the jewel again after it's like, it's almost complete. It shatters. Yeah, I flipped a table when that happened. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, really?
Yeah, it's
oh. I got over it.
Now,
I'm over it.
Misty Ibuki, they ask how many episodes are there? There's 167 episodes. That's the first run of it.
And then the final act was 26, and then there's 4 movies. They're just not related.
Also, same outlaw map. Or outlaw.
Yes, I agree. Yura is waifu material.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, good taste there. But yes, before we get to our next slide, we have another video to play for you guys. I think it was like 50th Shonen.
Yes.
One of the manga anniversaries put together a special clip for Runic World.
しゃーだじゃあメールアド教えて。ワクド一緒に行かない？ねえねえ彼女ってば、うるせえ、俺は男だ。みんな元気だったっちゃ。うちは元気だったっちゃよ。今日はこれから素敵なパーティーが始まるっちゃよ。
この時代にも鬼がいたのか。
みんな楽しんでってほしいっち
生きがけの出し入れ退治してやるぜ。
ゃ。お座り。なんだっちゃ。こら犬やしゃ、あんた何考えてんのよ。
ああ、なんだ、どこの受選鏡に落ちたのか知らねえが、その姿ずいぶん中途半端な溺れ方をしたもんだな。お前俺の声に似てんな。
何しやがんだよ。
君はこっちの姿の方が素敵だよ。いやー、君も素敵だね。ねえねえ、名前は何て言うの？メルアドは3サイズ。
弥勒様の子孫？
おい、俺様の目の前でカゴメを口説くとはいい度胸だな。お、みんな仲良くしようよねえってばね。
さあぎー
わあ、待て、ダム、早ま
浮気は許さないじゃ
カゴメは俺が守る。カングーソー
ガンガン触りまくりやがって。てめえだけは絶対許さねえ。獅子方向弾もう一個高飛車。逃がすかというわけで、週刊少年サンデー創刊50周年記念、みんなが集まる素敵なパーティー始まりじゃ
Yeah. All right. Here's another underrated piece of her work is Kyokai no Ready, or Ready of the Boundary, or Circle of Reincarnation. Whatever you want to call it. No judgment here.
It is getting like a lot of traction because it's more one of Rumiko's not well-known works. From what I've seen, anyway.
I seem like each one of her works has its own like niche group. It's just the most popular ones tend to be, or say, Atsura, Ranma, and Inuyasha.
Oh yeah,
because that's what I was surprised to see, like, swaggering for Marriage the Chojo recently.
yeah.
I was like, yay.
That's good.
All right. Anyway, so the story focuses on Sakura Momiya as a girl who's able to see ghosts since she was a child due to a certain incident. It's a bit of a spoiler. And she noticed her classmate, Rini Rakudo. He's a mixed human Shinigami heritage. She's a bit different than all the other kids, especially when he keeps digging into the shrine donation boxes. He helps lingering spirits pass to become reincarnated, which is part of a Shinigami's duty.
Yeah. It's like, I need change.
Yeah. I said the reason he keeps digging in the donation boxes, he's very poor. So donate to the shrine boxes. You never know who needs them. Because, like I said, it would just give away too much if I go further into it. But it's worth checking out, though. I can't really think of too many places that have it streaming at the moment. Can't really promote illegal sites on here. But unless you're familiar with like Spanish or Italian, you might be able to find some on YouTube. Like I know they have the best luck with older anime too.
Yeah.
And sometimes French.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
And our next slide.
I smell and then that. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Oh yeah. It keeps going back to Renee. Okay.
Sorry. I like Renee said me first.
Yeah. Renee wanted to stay a little longer. But, unfortunately, that's not the case. But here we are with her latest manga, which is currently on hiatus at the moment. But there's only like a couple volumes out of the manga.
Yeah. So the story with Mao is Nanoka Kiba. She had a near-death experience and ends up getting mixed up into weird events after the world of the living and the world of the dead intersect. And that's where she meets Mao.
And it's set in the Taisho era. I mean, again, another recurring theme is, different time periods. It's time travel.
Timey-wimey, wibbly-wobbly stuff.
Okay. And before we get to our last title, we have one more video to show you guys. A certain trailer that a lot of people are hyped for and have some questions they want answered.
Mm-hmm. And
take with the trailer.
Today.
名前は日暮とは悪いこと言わないから私をすぐに解放した方がいい。仲間が来たらあんたたちただじゃ済まないよ。犬夜叉と仲間たちの活躍により退治された妖怪根の首。
根の首か。取るに足らぬ雑魚妖怪だ。ただ
その一部が時代樹の力を得て戦国時代と現代をつなぐ不思議な空間を作り上げた。そこに吸い込まれた私は双子の妹刹那と離れ離れになって現代へタイムスリップ。かごめさんゆかりの日暮家の養女になり10年が過ぎた。大丈夫だよ、任せて。姉ちゃん喧嘩強いから。我が名は刹那。これ以上語ることの葉はない。それがお前の死ぬ理由だ。紅を刺した時私は国崩しの紅夜叉に変わる。赤きうつつに恐れをぬるけ。戦国時代に新たなる風。汎用の姫たち剣山。運命は次の世代へ託された。くらえ天空のやぶすな旋風陣。戦国おとぎ造詞。
Yep. This actually drops today. It's currently out on a Crunchyroll right now.
Oh, yeah.
No spoilers, please. We're going to watch this after the stream.
Yeah. A treat for ourselves.
Yes. Yes, after we snatch these wigs off.
Yep. Yeah, Hanyo no Yashahime, the half-demon princesses. Now, as I'm sure you're all aware, it's a spinoff to Inuyasha.
Based around their children,
Mhm.
Inuyasha and Shishomaru's children. And I think Sango and what's it? Sango's.
Sango and Moroku's son too.
It would surprise me if they have a whole village.
Oh god.
Knowing Moroku, if he had his way,
Yes.
whole village of kids.
Now, should I go into detail or did the trailer do that?
I was just saying we already got the cliff notes, but I mean, if you want to go into this part, yeah.
Well, so this is years later, obviously. Shishomaru's daughter, Setsuna and Towa set out on a journey, and a freak forest fire happens, and they're separated. Towa ends up going down a tunnel and winds up in modern era Japan, specifically close to the Higurashi house, or the shrine actually.
Yeah, she's found by Shota, Kagome's brother, and is raised by him and his family.
Yep, and then it's 10 years later. The portal opens back up, and Setsuna goes back, or Towa goes back. Sorry, only to have Setsuna not remember her. And Setsuna is a demon slayer, working under Kohaku,
Sango's brother.
and she's somehow joined by Inuyasha's daughter, Moroha.
Anyone notice how Kohaku has a scar just like his dad has a scar, it's just different spots?
I didn't notice that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we can. I think they've read that already. We can go to the next slide because I've got some information on that one. It's basically showing off the poster for the series. Shows Moroha, who's Inuyasha and Kagome's daughter, annoyed with the raccoon demon dog. This is a callback to Inuyasha and Shippo, who gets mistaken for a raccoon dog on occasion, or Shippo, which I wonder if he'll make an appearance in this, or at least like a callback to him or something.
I kind of hope so.
Again, the village of Sango and Moroku's children wouldn't surprise me either. So,
all right.
Yep.
So, and that's where you can follow us.
Yes.
All these little social medias.
We don't bite.
We don't.
No.
And that'll be technically the end, but not really.
Yeah, I said we can still Q&A and chat about waifus and stuff. It's fine. But one more special slide before this one, though. I'll let you do the honors.
Okay. So I'm not sure if a few of y'all know, but I draw sometimes.
Yes.
My handle is Black Rose Night Art. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. I'm a little bit more active on Twitter.
She lives on Twitter.
Technically, yeah. But I have my prices and what I will draw and what I can't draw, or really not draw, obviously. And my payment is accepted through PayPal. My commissions are open, but I'm also down for taking requests.
She did the lovely artwork at her advertisement, or little chibi selves.
Yep.
She's really easy to work with, guys, so I highly recommend you commission her. And that about does it for us, other than, Q&A, or if anyone else has any questions.
It's like, we don't bite.
No.
Ask away.
Are you Team Chober or Team Inuyasha?
Glad y'all are back. Glad that I'm back. Glad that we've had this opportunity to chat. When we scheduled this, we did not realize it was going to be the actual day that this anime dropped.
I thought it was coincidental.
I
was like, okay.
Totally coincidental. Like, I knew it was coming this month, but I didn't realize it was coming on the exact day. So that's pretty awesome for us. I did check while we were listening to you guys, and Rene is available on High Dive still, all 3 seasons. And so if you subscribe to VRV, which is, that weird Crunchyroll other stations mashup, High Dive is on VRV. So it's not on Crunchyroll anymore. But apparently it is on Crunchyroll, but outside of North America. So if anybody here is watching from, I know sometimes we have people who watch from other continents, you may be able to get it on Crunchyroll, but definitely High Dive still has all of it. So, if you've not checked out High Dive before, they're owned by Sentai, and so they have the entire Sentai catalog, which is pretty cool.
Oh, nice.
I don't know if y'all have been watching the comments while we've been going through. There's just a couple of interesting ones that we just see. I mean, basically just people agreeing that there were, there's a lot of cult following. She's been going on for so many years. She really broke a lot of boundaries as a woman in manga. So that is
quite the trailblazer.
Yeah.
Hi, G.
So if anyone else in the chat has anything else to comment on, we would love to go ahead and take any Q&As if you have anything. If not, we'll just sit here and hang out for a bit. So I'll ask you guys some questions while we're waiting to see if anybody else has anything else. So what is your favorite work, each of you?
Oh, I love Ursa Yatsura, the OG. She cast quite a spell on me as a little girl, so yeah, it's the one that sticks.
And I'm a rounder, basically. I really like Ranma 1/2, Inuyasha, The Laughing Target, and Mermaid Saga. The last 2 because I'm real big into horror, and the mythology or legend aspect kind of drew me in.
The Fire Tripper surprised me, though, when I was researching for this panel. I was like, wow. I never thought I'd be into that one.
Yeah.
But I do agree about the Mermaid Saga, though. That one is pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
I remember renting that one from Hollywood Video. The 80s one.
Misty Ibuki asks, how did you get into her work?
Sci-Fi Channel as a kid in the 90s on Saturdays when they had that anime for a week block. My dad hated it, but I loved it. So just seeing the second Lum movie on there, I had to look up more of her work, and I don't know if you can reach the manga over there. I started collecting the Lum and the Sum manga shortly after. Well, she's getting it for me, or at least grab one. That's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, I know my introduction to it was that my husband, who's Australian, had been collecting the Ranma manga since the 80s. And so when we got married, he sort of like, he hadn't moved a lot of stuff around the world with him, except he did have both his Ranma and his Usagi Yojimbo manga. Like that was the two things that were worth carrying anywhere around the world. So,
and with me, it was Inuyasha on not Toonami, Adult Swim.
I also remember seeing Ranma and Inuyasha in Animerica magazine back in the late 90s, early 2000s. Because that got me more curious about her work.
Angie, I agree. Blessed late 90s, early 2000s cable TV.
Oh, yes. And then accidentally renting movies that were ecchi, only for your dad to confiscate them. Thanks. That's a true story. It happened to me. Because I was like, oh, this looks cool. We're renting this. My dad walks
watching
in.
On VHS. Yeah.
It's like, this is mine now. I'm sorry.
I'm sitting here going, because I was out the country for so much of this, that I missed all of the early sci-fi stuff, and we just had it on, bootleg versions of things.
I have a question for you, Julianne. Didn't you say you lived in England for a bit too?
I did for about 12 years, and I've lived in Australia for 2 years.
English, or the British dub of Lum the Invader Girl?
I have not. So,
you can look on YouTube. It's a treat. It is a freaking treat.
I will have to look out for that.
There was a Doctor Who actor that actually, I think he did the voice of Ataru in it. I'm terrible with names.
There's so many doctors that it depends on which one.
Like he wasn't a doctor per se, but he was in like the series for a bit.
Okay.
But
like I said, I can't remember.
Yeah, because
that show's been on for 5 years now. So there's so many people who've been in it. But yeah, that's cool. I will look into that. Do we have any other questions? Otherwise, I think we're about to wrap up for today.
There's that one question of what's VHS.
That was Akashicon trolling us. So sorry, that was
like, what is Betamax?
I still remember that too. I think I saw Star Wars. The first time I saw Star Wars was on Betamax.
And sadly, they lost out because they refused to have any adult materials on their format. That's a nice way to put it.
I mean, I'm not going to go into the former phrase of what makes the internet go round, but yeah. Well, I would like to thank Team Waifu for being with us today. This has been a really fantastic introduction. If you guys have not, there's several shows I haven't seen before, like we're again in that weird little era that I didn't pick up on, and I will have to go back and check them out. And really appreciate this. Everyone. Yeah, well, I didn't know about the 2003 version of Mermaid Scar, so I'm gonna have to go look that up.
Oh yeah, there's a playlist on YouTube, like of all of it.
Yeah, so that should be fantastic. So we all have like homework assignments today, and we definitely have the new show to watch. So, although my husband did already sneak it in earlier, so I didn't watch. I didn't want to spoil it, but some people have already been out there. But thank you guys so much. Thank everybody for attending. We have a really good turnout today, and we really appreciate you guys choosing to spend your time with us. And remember that next month we are going to have anime and J-fashion related artists. So please come, and it's a really good time to get to know some of these people the way you would normally in an artist alley type situation. So good to see everybody. Thanks. I'm sorry, I'm looking down at the chat as if you guys can see me. Thanks for being with us, and we will see you guys next month. And also remember that there are 3 other opportunities to see Akashicon online. So do check out our social media. Bye-bye.
Won't you bend that back for me? We won't stop, got your feet both locked. You get to fly with me. I can take you down for a ride. I take you around my life. Jaywalking, crosswalking, lip blocking, but I know it, you know it, we make it. Heaven is really not far away. Why can't we fall in love for a day? I want to fall in love, baby, just for the night. Just for the night. Heaven is really not far away. Why can't we fall in love for a day? I want to fall in love, baby, just for the night. Just for the night. Oh my baby, got me staring at you. So I'm crazy. Won't you bend that back for me? We won't stop, got your feet both locked. You get to fly with me. I can take you down for a ride. I take you around my life. Jaywalking, crosswalking, lip blocking, but I know it, you know it, we make it. Heaven is really not far away. I can't be falling in love for a day. I want to fall in love, baby, just for the night. Just for the night. Heaven is really not far away. Why can't we fall in love?